In the year 1794, the Hawaiian Islands stood at a turning point. For the past 4 years, Kamehameha had been meticulously building his military strength, amassing a formidable fleet and stockpiling muskets through trade with Western ships. His ambition was clear. He sought to unify the Hawaiian Islands under his rule. However, he faced a formidable challenge. Not only did he have to confront the ruler of Maui, but he also had to contend with a powerful alliance formed by the other islands, all intent on resisting his growing dominance. This alliance had already attempted to overthrow him, launching an invasion to depose him. Yet Kamehameha was prepared. His fleet of cannon-armed war canoes met the enemy in a fierce naval battle off the northwest coast of Hawaii. In this clash, his superior weaponry and strategic prowess prevailed, dealing a decisive defeat to the opposing forces. But the real turning point came when 2 Western merchant vessels arrived with critical intelligence. The king of Maui had died. His son, Kalaniʻipiu, now ruled from Oahu. This news presented Kamehameha with a golden opportunity. Kalaniʻipiu had already suffered defeat at Kamehameha's hands in a prior campaign, and his hold on power was tenuous. Infighting with his relatives had weakened his forces, and he was deeply anxious about Kamehameha's naval strength. In a desperate move, Kalaniʻipiu attempted to recruit the 2 Western ships into his own fleet, but his efforts failed. The moment had come for Kamehameha to strike. Seizing the opportunity, Kamehameha launched a bold offensive. His forces landed on Maui and Molokai in a series of relentless amphibious assaults. Resistance crumbled, and soon these islands fell under his control. With this success, he turned his attention to Oahu, where Kalaniʻipiu had retreated. Kamehameha's fleet, numbering 600 war canoes equipped with Western-style sails, surged toward Oahu's southern shores. Supported by 2 Western ships, one constructed with British assistance, he landed a massive army of 16,000 Hawaiian warriors. These troops swept through the island, forcing Kalaniʻipiu's soldiers from their fortified positions in temples and other strongholds. The battle reached its climax when the Allied army, now in full retreat, found themselves trapped against a 1,000-foot cliff. Kamehameha's warriors pressed forward in disciplined ranks, driving their enemies over the precipice. With this devastating victory, Kamehameha secured control over all the islands except for Kauai and Niihau. However, before moving further, he needed to consolidate his power. Within months, he captured and ritually sacrificed Kalaniʻipiu. A small rebellion erupted back on Hawaii, but Kamehameha swiftly crushed it, proving his iron grip over his newly unified realm. Kamehameha's rule was not solely defined by conquest. He was also a leader of profound wisdom and justice. His pursuit of 2 fishermen exemplified this. A decade earlier, he had attacked an unarmed fishing party, but in a twist of fate, his foot had become lodged in a rock fissure. Seizing the moment, the fisherman had struck him unconscious with a canoe paddle and fled. Now, as their ruler, Kamehameha sought them out. Knowing the consequences of even touching an alii and noble, the fisherman expected execution. But Kamehameha instead surprised them. He acknowledged his past mistake, apologized, and declared a groundbreaking new law, the law of the Splintered Paddle. This decree ensured that all people, young and old, could travel and rest safely without fear of harm from warriors or brigands. This law is recognized as one of the earliest human rights protections and remains enshrined in Hawaii's state constitution today. Beyond his military campaigns, Kamehameha turned to governance and reform. Years of warfare had devastated Hawaiian agriculture, with fields lying fallow and fish ponds in disrepair. To revitalize the land, Kamehameha personally toured Oahu, setting an example by working the fields himself. He also implemented a sweeping land reform, restructuring Hawaii's land division system. No longer would ruling alii hold self-sufficient lands that could serve as power bases against him. Instead, land would be granted for use rather than outright ownership, ensuring that Kamehameha retained ultimate control. If a chief fell out of favor, he could be stripped of his land rights. These reforms strengthened Kamehameha's authority and prevented future rebellion. As his kingdom stabilized, Kamehameha discovered a new passion: trade. His interest in commerce had already fueled his acquisition of Western weapons before the invasion of Oahu. Now, he sought to expand Hawaii's economic potential. British explorer George Vancouver had previously visited and helped establish diplomatic relations with Great Britain. Kamehameha had hoped to secure British military protection, but the discussions were misunderstood. Vancouver mistakenly believed Kamehameha intended to cede the islands to UK. While this did not materialize, it marked Hawaii's entry into international diplomacy. Kamehameha capitalized on Hawaii's valuable resource, sandalwood, highly prized in China for crafting incense and fine boxes. With Hawaii emerging as a key stop on the China trade route, the economy flourished. Honolulu Harbor grew rapidly, transforming from a modest village into a thriving trade hub. To protect this precious resource, Kamehameha imposed a kapu, sacred prohibition, on young sandalwood trees, preventing overharvesting and ensuring sustainability. The influx of trade also spurred infrastructure development. Hawaiian authorities collected fees from docking ships, while locals established warehouses and repair facilities to accommodate Western traders. Kamehameha himself embraced Western customs, donning European attire and becoming the first Hawaiian to ride a horse. Yet, despite adopting aspects of Western culture, Kamehameha staunchly preserved Hawaii's religious traditions. The kapu system, which governed sacred spaces and social hierarchy, was central to Hawaiian life. It dictated fishing practices, crop rotation, and societal roles. Though strict and often oppressive, it maintained social stability. However, Western influences and diseases began to erode traditional life. Farmers abandoned their taro fields to cut sandalwood. Commoners faced increased exploitation, and devastating epidemics ravaged the population. Measles even derailed Kamehameha's second attempt to conquer Kauai, and he himself nearly succumbed to illness. By 1810, Kamehameha's unification dream came to fruition through diplomacy. Komwali'i, the king of Kauai, recognizing Kamehameha's overwhelming power, voluntarily became his vassal in exchange for retaining his authority. At last, the Hawaiian Islands were unified under a single ruler. Kamehameha had forged a centralized kingdom, but external challenges loomed. Britain and the United States, Hawaii's two biggest trading partners, had gone to war. Fearing that his ports might become battle zones, Kamehameha commissioned Hawaii's first national flag. This design incorporated elements from both British and American flags, signaling neutrality. Remarkably, despite the later overthrow of the kingdom, this flag still flies over Hawaii today. Foreign intrigues soon tested Kamehameha's sovereignty. A Russian expedition, acting without approval from the Tsar, attempted to establish a fort in Honolulu and seize control. Kamehameha swiftly dispatched his warriors to dismantle the fort and expel the Russians, demonstrating his firm stance against colonial interference. He became highly selective in dealing with foreigners, allowing only trusted allies to gain influence in his kingdom. By 1819, Kamehameha's reign was drawing to a close. As he lay dying, he entrusted his kingdom to his son, Liholiho, and granted his most trusted wife, Kahumanu, the role of chief advisor. His final words were a testament to his vision. "Endless is a good I have given you to enjoy." With his passing, his bones were hidden in the mountains, in accordance with ancient Hawaiian customs. Kamehameha had achieved more than just political unification. He had fostered a shared identity among his people. No longer did islanders say, "I am from Maui," or "I am from Oahu." Now they declared, "I am Hawaiian." Yet his successors would struggle to maintain his legacy. Under Liholiho and Kahumanu, the traditional kapu system would be dismantled, temples destroyed, and religious beliefs upended. In the vacuum left behind, Christian missionaries arrived, setting in motion profound changes that would ultimately lead to the downfall of the Hawaiian monarchy.